just to show you the nuts and bolts of how simple it is to move things around in Flash, pull up Flash. I'm going to all programs. I've got macro media. Mine's all over the place. And then you're looking for Flash. Click. Okay, now we're going to open. Normally you would just create a Flash document, but I'm going to open my project files, which is in today's assignment. And you're looking for Trekkies, and then you pull up the Trekkies FLA, FLA, and up it comes. I'm going to delete this. Save. So let me tell you about the types of files that there are in Flash. There's two types. There's a FLA, and you have to have the software open to view it before you can see it, but you're also able to edit the file. Or there's a SWF, and you need a Flash player installed on your system to play it, which most systems do, or you can go to Adobe and download the Flash player, but you can't edit the file. And when you save your FLA and then test the movie, which is Control-Enter, Flash automatically generates the SWF. So I saved a copy of my FLA. Let me go File, Save As, and you want to save it on your desktop or in a folder or whatever you've got. I'm going to save it. I'll cancel because I've already saved. Okay, so you've got that. And then what you'll do is you want to create 4 of characters. So let me go up. Put 4 characters together. So with this in the background, you're going to go File, New, Flash Document, OK. And the only reason I'm doing this is to give you some room. And then you see the library? It's untitled, Library. If you can't see the library, go Window, Library. OK, now if you pull down the background, you can access Trekkie's FLA. And there's all the stuff. But they have to be open. See? They're open. So I'm going to make sure I've got my Trekkie's FLA library opened. These are all symbols, and you can tell here's Bones, and you can see it up here. And let me pull Bones in. I'm going to double click. There he is. But if I double click, I'm actually looking at him. He's lots of different pieces. See? So I'm going to go, for instance, here's his arm, and you could actually spend the time creating him. Bones head, you can pull it off. Bones ear, and you can start creating them all by yourself. But what you'll probably want to do is just take Bones. I'm going to delete this. Ooh, I caught too much. And I'm getting this. Delete. And then I'm going to go back to scene 1. So, right, I'm going to put a nice background on, some kind of a background. You could go to background color, or you could also go into File, Open, and in the Resources folder, I've got something called Flash Backgrounds. And I double click in here. You'll be in here a lot. And you might want, there's one in here called Space. It doesn't have to be space, it just happens to, something. It's a background. So up it comes. Alright, there's my space. And you can see I've got 3 libraries opened. So if I go back to my Untitled, and then I'm going to pull in my space, and then I'll open this up. And I can start putting, oops, I'm going to undo that. I should tell you, I'm going to call this bones. Alright, I'm going to put another layer, insert a layer, and I'm going to call this background. So I'm going to double click. Alright, and obviously I'm going to want bones to be in front of the background. I'm going to go back to background, make sure your layer's highlighted. And you might want this to go in, for instance, and you might want a couple of planets, and you're going to want to resize it. Here's free transform. And I'm holding the shift key and I get lots of different, there we are, it's far too big. And this may not even be a good one to choose, but just, you know, some kind of a space dust clouds. Woo! And I'm going to free transform them. Just play around to get yourself a nice background. Or just put a colored background on. It really doesn't matter for now. We're just playing around. Okay, there we go. So what I did instead, here's a different way. I pulled up the flaw and I'm going for cave. Okay, and then I'm going to work on it. I'm going to put a new layer up at the top and I'm going to call this Trekkies. Okay, there. Now I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save this whole thing, which is on my desktop, Foundation File, and I'm going to call this Bones. That's going to do. Yeah, I'm going to save it. Now on this new layer, if you remember, I've got my Trekkies library already there. Okay, but if I wanted, I could at any point go and move this around at anything. You may not want to. You may be quite happy with the layout the way it is. Okay, there's the bone. You might want to put some more on, and that's okay too. But once you've got your background, okay, put a layer on up at the top. I'm going to put my Trekkies on here, and then I'm going to pull down to Trekkie's Flaw. Okay, I know I want bones, and I'm going to work on him. In fact, I'm going to call this not Trekkies, I'm going to call it bones. I'm going to have a different layer for each of my 4 characters. Okay, and then I'm going to start putting glasses on people and hats and that sort of stuff. So this looks cool. So I'm going to put this on here. And then I'm going to have to go, I'm going to zoom in. Where's my zoom tool? So I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to rotate them a little bit. I'm going to have to flip that around, to get it on his face. So to do that, I go up to Modify, and I want to transform. And here's the way you can play around with them. I'm going to go Flip Horizontal, and I'm going to move him into place. I'll need to transform this a little bit, make him a bit bigger. Okay. And then I'm going to look for some kind of a hat. So we're scrolling around, just trying to find... There, would that do for him? I'm going to put a hat on it. And all we're doing right now is, I'm going to twist this a little bit, see, just to get it on at an angle, the rakish angle, and I'll pull it down. We're just practicing putting things around. I'm going to go Show Frame. There we are. He's starting to take shape. So here's what's available in the Trekkies. So you could end up putting on, you know, hair, at least 3 pieces. And then here's some glasses. Oops, now I'm going to pull this out. Where is he? There we are. And I'm going to go up to Modify, Arrange, Bring to Front. There we are. So that's how you control. And then here are the requirements. You're going to have at least 3 items on the character. So I'll go back. That's 1, 2. And then you might want something like this. Okay, then you're going to go Modify, Arrange, Bring to Front. That's how you get them on. You're playing with Transform to make it bigger. Okay, and also a creative background. So I've got my bones, he's starting to take shape, there's my background. And then the last one, hand in the swift, not the fla, please. So 4 characters to create. Thank you very much.